So I think a lot of times when we do these little discussions, it gets really in the weeds on like contracts and strategy and negotiation, all that
Or
stuff.
for me, like the marketing side.
Yeah, the marketing side. But tell me about a deal that was very memorable or fulfilling for you, a little behind the deal.
Oh, okay. It was probably year one in the business for me. I had met with husband and wife, young family that had been having a hard time selling their Herndon, like kind of luxury townhouse. It was a price point that was like $1 million townhouse. I don't remember the exact price, but it was around that price range where it was like most townhouse buyers in Herndon were not spending that much.
Yeah.
And it was in the downtown area. So it was like very walkable. But when I met with them and I sat down with them as sellers, she shared with me, I said, hey, tell me about what's going on. Why do you think your home hasn't sold? Why do you need to sell right now? And she said, I just lost like my twin babies.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like still.
I remember this story.
Yeah. I just lost my twin babies and now I'm pregnant again with twins. And she said, I guess I never heard the term rainbow baby, like if you lose a baby and then you have another baby. So she's like, these are my rainbow twins. And she's like, we have to get a bigger house in like 3 months because like I'm going to have a baby. And their house wasn't big enough for, the three of them then. I mean, it was big enough for the three of them, but for 2 more babies. And I had never felt like you and I think both work better under pressure. But I remember doing like kind of open house after open house after open house after open house. And it was a different market, like 2015, 2016. And houses were just taking a lot longer to sell. And the gut feeling that I had in my heart when she came home, they came home, they would leave for the open houses and I would be leaving and I'd have to tell her like, nobody came in and she would just start crying. And I was like, I was like, I will do an open house every single day if you would let me to try to get this house sold. Even if only one person came in, it was like it just took one. And like after a couple months, we got the house sold. And like the fulfillment that I felt from seeing the joy on her face, not only selling that house and then buying a house in Ashburn, I felt closer to them as clients than I had up until that point with anybody else, because not only seeing what it did for them as a family, but also the fulfillment and the gratitude for me of saying like, Dustin, you did everything that you promised, and the business can be so simple. You just do what you promise.
Yeah.
You exceed what you promise, but at minimum do what you promise. But that's behind the scenes for me, the most important sale for me.
Yeah, that was, it's touching when you can actually have an impact on somebody and also when they show gratitude. It means a lot.
Yeah. So what about you, behind the scenes or behind the deal?
Behind the deal for me, and I've done this several times, is helping people through a new stage in their life where it's usually like an older couple who have lived in their house for 30 plus years. I'm thinking of one couple in general, and they just lived not too far from us in Centerville. They were living their dream, moving down to Florida full time, and they had a house that they had 30 plus years and were ready to sell it. She drove a hard bargain. She had a very specific number in mind. And I remember she was like, we're going to get $715 for this house. And I was like, well, I think the comps aren't really supporting that number. And she's like, nope, we're going to get $715 for this house. She just drove a really hard bargain. But at the same time, we needed to do a lot to get the house ready.
Yeah, I think I know the house you're talking about. And
at the pool.
Yeah, with the pool. And she had a lot of stuff that looked kind of 80s.
Yes, it was very, it was just dated. Overall, it was a well-maintained home, but it just was dated.
I think it was one of the most well-maintained homes.
Yeah, they were definitely like great homeowners, took care of everything. But they were elderly, so it takes a lot to go through 30 years of possession. So one of the things that I offered to them, but really her, I worked with her most closely, was I was going to help through Facebook Marketplace get things sold. They didn't want to do an estate sale. So Facebook Marketplace to get things sold. I came over for multiple yard sales, and I just helped them like really purge.
I think you brought Charlotte with you to one of those yard sales.
Oh yeah, always bring the kids to help. You know, you gotta pay them, but they'll come and help. But I just think that was really rewarding because it helped them get from point A to point B as seamlessly as possible, as stress-free as possible, because it can be very stressful. They don't know where to start. And that also, I kind of like it because I like getting in there and seeing all of these like treasures that people have, and getting all the stories behind it, and they wanted to share, and it almost felt like some time with my grandparents or something. It was really a fun time. And every time I see houses like this now, it kind of makes me think that we should start our own estate sale company, because I can see the value in all these things, and I really love it.
Well, I think you'll probably do that pretty soon here, but that's why you're the calming yang to my raging yang, because I can't even put like one thing on Facebook Marketplace without it stressing me out. Like multiple people saying they're coming, they're not coming, and you're like, why are you letting this bother you? Yeah. And you not only listed the stuff with her, but you helped her price it. Mm-hmm. And then it just blew my mind that you were doing multiple like all day yard sales with her. And I said, this isn't part of your terms of service. And you're like, it just makes me feel good to help her out.
Yeah.
And
somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. But it also, I think it helped her to see how much you were on her side, mm-hmm. and the stuff that it was hard for her to let go of. She needed to see like what the real market value was for those things. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, like, I know how much it meant like to that family, like for what you did for them. And I see it every day because you're doing that for my family every day, and I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah.
Thanks.